Okay. Um, okay. Today's date is the 20th of March 2026. The time now is 29 a.m. Literally, it's like Google Journal and for my from the future opposition. So this is a personal development, and I'm here back in the world now. So, basically, if I go to Nigeria right now, I'll be allowed to build my own things. Because the United has in the UK so many times, and I've seen my family or my friends that have done my education. I know I have autism, ADHD, Asperger's, learning disability, and I mean, as nine, I found out what I had. So I was really, well, my autism is. I can argue with you, argue with people about my new divergence, and literally, it doesn't make or break. It doesn't break me; it makes me, and that's why I say I don't have disability in any way, shape, or form. Today's video is gonna be on the personal development framework. Everyone has a persona, but you know what I'm saying. So let's just read it. So basically, we're gonna read it. I'm not posting and reading this, but it's gonna be read it here. So this is the multi triangle of needs. So you get Maslow triangle of needs. Maslow, Maslow triangle of needs. You get food, water, um, warmth, and rest, which are psychological needs. We have safety needs. We have security and safety. We have belonging and love needs, intimate relationship with friends. We have prestige, feeling of accomplishment, esteem, needs, and self-calculation. So, you know, the goal is basically to formalize this as a heart-health system, heart-health system. This is the most certain goal needs, and you gotta have safety, psychological needs, food, water, warmth, rest as part of the NSIGII protocol for sensory infrastructure and autonomous within the system. Because Nico is information capable C for Charlie over his constitutional operating system, and all of this is authentic and have authentic computation. Use to express myself online and offline. Authentically via emojis and stuff like that. And mitigate personal disorder. Okay. Personal so this Medium article on obnexus.medium.com, the link between personal development disorder and personal development for people that are tripolar like me, who don't have disease, but it's usually a social a way of integrating with society. Because it's really the Muslim triangle needs. And I'm going to read it here, my hypothesis, but let's just read it with the reader, because screen reader is saving a lot of time. So we're going to read forward slash obss.com. No one needs to be screen reader, so it doesn't read here. So there's no text here. Oh, it does. So it does open up. So let me just read it. Read aloud. Prefaces, line focus, choose language, English. So this is type page. No. Text preferences, medium, text size, large. Yeah. Read aloud. So this is a voice. Editing thing. So basically, it's basically reading, but into my headset. So let me just read something around. Okay, I wrote this. Just guys, stop. Right. So basically, I have three journals, and three journals are literally what I use to mitigate percentage loads. But the computer should be able to do it too. We should go to this video. We go to this video for the muscular house triangle of need, which is let me start from here. Everyone has the diary. So the psychological needs are physiological needs are physiological, food, like your physical self, food, water, warmth, rest. Your safety needs are security and security and safety. Your belongingness and love needs are intimate relationship and friends. And your team needs are prestige, feeling of accomplishment, or feeling of accomplishment. You choose something. You know, you have chosen something. So prestige is basically your feeling of accomplishment. That's what I'm saying. How about sure? What is prestige mean? Widespread respect and emotion falls to someone on the basis of position or ability of quality prestige. So your prestige is one. And the ecosystem has to understand that you are prestiging via the NSIGII firmware. Now, the NSIGII firmware is N for November, S for Sarah, I for Indigo, G for Gold, I for India. And the NSIGII firmware is basically a perceptive membrane of your needs. So the firmware is literally the software that boots up, usually the firmware interface for the Mook OS, and just address your needs before it has anything else. This is must allow triangle needs to do that. And and the needs are self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, and increasing all of these are the inverse of the needs. So this is what's needed before anything that should be there, and anything that's wanted, needed and never shared, needed never shared. It's consensual and it's unilateral. So it's basically works one person and everyone. So I'm trying to express the formalization mathematically via a perceptive membrane. So a membrane is what's a membrane? I forgot what membrane is. One second, guys. Membrane. Man. A membrane is a thin layer of flexible layer that acts as a barrier stopping environment regulating the transport of molecules or covering surfaces used to protect cells and organs in a general or what them. A membrane, biological. Okay, let me just try to switch my screen here. So a membrane is this thing here. But, the tissue, you get a tissue membrane. So basically, you get a cell membrane, but you get a perceptive membrane. Let me just So what is a perceptive membrane? It's gonna watch over you via calibration. Via calibration, right? It's usually a compass for your needs. But it's gonna work like as a dendrite. So the dendrite has double the space and half the time, or double the time and half the space. And then just perceives that the mucous vesicles calibrate correctly, and this is being addressed even before the computer boots up or the firmware uses it, because the firmware is a bias, a bias. So there's no standard stamp, but according to the 3D drawing of visual outlook, you can see you, you can see you. I point the term perceiving membrane just so I can continue my work, do what I need to do. But this is what the NSIGII firmware is supposed to do. So let's read it out loud. Let's find out whether we can read it down. But triangle is what's important, but the personal development is the system. So let's read it out loud now. Let's see what this says. So let's start here. Let's start here. Text size large, text spacing wider, dark mode. So let me read that out. I'm not reading. Structured life work balance, modern bank struggle of need. So this is what I use by integrating task-based system like to terminate. Okay, so you get the muscular triangle of these, I just said, you get the repetition of the system. So one thing is that the muscular triangle of needs is what's used as in Ziggy's very quotes before a heartfelt system. a hard first system. You get a want, which is basically you get a hard full system. Everything that's hard first is hard full. So usually it's a hard full. It cares about sensory your senses before it cares about the firmware. And the firmware is basically the firmware is an application that runs after the boot gets completely booted. And it's gonna be basically the person gonna be pointing to you. Can this computer boot? Because the Nuka boot sequence is literally addressed differently. The Nuka boot sequence is a ring boot loader. The Nuka boot procedure allows you to have three arcs, three units. You have three accesses that cross at one layer. So you got basically you take a ring. So take a circle. That circle will be ringed, but the system you get three rings that oscillate each other and to scan for errors in own calibration. So so you can always boot your computer tomorrow for food wallet shop because food wallet is precise first. So think of it because the goal was first primarily to handle my neurodivergence. I have autism, ADHD, Asperger's, learning disability, dyslexia, dyspraxia. No, I don't have dyspraxia. I have I have dyspraxia. I have autism, ADHD, Asperger's, learning disability, dyspraxia and dyslexia, but the system is natural, so it knows what happened. It was sort of worst case, and the calibration is basically is part of the specification, but the specification is basically being introduced now. So the life work balance is because not work life balance, life before work, not before life, can resolve dynamic dissonance and role conflict when trying to tile-based systems into two columns. Now, two columns are basically foundational goals and aspirational goals. Aspirational goals, it's here want and need. It's a scheduler. It's a scheduler. So you get a scheduler. Is it a want? You get basically these are two listen. You got aspirational goals, you got foundational stuff, you got your life, you're breathing, you're living and you're working. I'm not sure working. And you get things that are allocated to that system. But you get things that working was optional, because work is optional. No, because work is optional, you get a two-track back system. This is gonna be a lot of informal specification. But you get two because it's in NSIGII, you have to have three trauma system. It says two here, but I mean three. The conflict between task liquidation and resolve dissonance or errors. So ADHD is basically ADHD type 2 is what two is what I have. Because for any word you say, for any event that's happening around me, for anything I'm listening to, that can become incoherent or become dissonant, dissonance. I have double the time and half the space, and double the time to process information, and half the space to put into structure. And I have half the time for the worst case, half the time, and double the space. In modern psychology, this is called dissonance, I believe. But the person is to align with your persona and develop your persona, because the computer aids your persona development, your authentic self. The shape of you, your consciousness, who you are. So the NSIGII firmware, N for November, S for Sarah, I for Indigo, G for Gold, I for India, is a firmware. F for France, I for Indigo, R for Romeo, M for Mike, W for West, A for Alpha, R for Indigo. That is precisely that mitigates suffering. And suffering can be internal and external. So the system has to calibrate. So the calibration is what's the list? So if you have the three axes of raw picture, this must point to you, must allocate your needs, must point to you via thing want, what you want, what you need, what you should get, what you might need, what you should have. And these 3 pointers form a triadic, three curves. Let me try and show you one, man. So, basically, it's like a system of nonlinearity. Yeah. So, so the needs are the somewhere in code. This is encoded and calibrated. And how the calibrator works is by ensuring that you have the scanning. This is scanning for errors. The system, it's scanning for you. It's just perceiving your actions. I'm looking for the coherence in your interaction. So the perception is scanning for any action that has any traits you emit that has properties, the two properties, so you can best use the system. Best use the system. For example, if I look into my local OS and I need food, I need food. The system is connected to the internet, but since it's actually do you need food and you get to get food, before the system boots. But if you're offline, it's going to give you feedback and shelter. But say I log in, say I log into computer, and the computer has calibration. So basically, it's basically three axes, X, Y, Z, and it's scanning for incoherence patterns of my inputs. Of my input system. This is called a compositor. So the system is a compositor because it's a compositor of components that work together. And the components are the system will give you one shelter. So if I go and I ask and I do to the system, I actually get to get food by moving my mouse and getting my needs addressed first. It's within food, water, and shelter. So if I need a house, food, do I need shelter? So I get asked, do you need food? Yes. Do you need water? Yes. Do you need shelter? Yes. And that then before you can overboot it, this is before you can actually do the system. But what the system is doing is basically collaborated via the microbit sequence. And the microbit sequence has mitigate, so you get a qubit, C for Charlie, T formula, B for Bravo, and Indigo, so you give you food, water, share, so you can love and log in, you know, uh, 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 it asks you what you need. So the computer asks you what you need, or what you need. So you don't make you can actually the thing with, but basically the app is written in C, and basically how does this work? So you take the C sharp programming language. You have a .NET application. And the .NET application is basically the NSIGII firmware, and this is the UI interface for the firmware. Now, the UI interface is in C sharp because it shows user developed as, and that can usually be booted by boot.bin file via QEMU. And the QEMU system boots up via NASAM. So you get NASAM, Netwide Assembler, and then NASAM boots up a QEMU binary that's been assembled by NASAM, NetWide Assembler. So this is my system fully to give food one shot, but the UI interface they give you the single is a UI UX system that does your needs first. So you can calibrate what you need first. Food, water, and shelter based on your system of where you are. So the format is the need from the need from gives you food and shelter based on how you interact with the system. And the system is so basically go to the screen here. So this format. So think of it like a scanner. So you have this circle, and this circle, this is a circle, ellipse, because you see this is a cubit, but the qubit, there's a circle that that scans that's polarized. It's scanning for degradation in how you interact with it, and perceiving what you need, what should, and updating the dynamic. But it doesn't lock you off your need. It keeps your needs addressed, so you can find so you book into, when you actually build into, when you come to the operating system, you can build into some kind of system that can give you food and shelter. So the qubits have computation spaces, and these computation basically are the rotation of the axes. And the rotation of the axis is literally mitigating interference, superposition, order superposition, order entanglement via it's a unilateral it's a unilateral system that cares for your essentials. Uh, so the computer must ask you that before it even boots up. Do you need food? Yes. Do you need water? Yes. Do you need shelter? Yes. And that's what, so the firmware is calibrated, and it's basically made to polarized to you. So the second problem is time. Time. The time of a system is complex. Time is one way. Time, we live in a briefing universe. So time is an asset that we can't measure. So this is going to give you a feeding time of water. So you have to be working on a kind of a time axis. So you get a time item. So you get 30 seconds, 30 seconds is split into 30 minutes can be split into 15 and 20. Uh, 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 5 and 3. And these three time always compute the time axis. So you get a space axis, the single from time and space axis right that resolve some kind of incoherence in the philosophy of the below that, so you can get feeling time. But it's a firmware for the firmware is gonna give you options to no options or options to deal with your needs before you even meet the system. It's a calibrator. It's a calibrator for the system, and the calibrator ensures your needs are met before the system. So let's read this article. Unstable, yes. Unstable percentage equals person disorder. And I'm arguing that it's what it is. It's what it is here. In this realm of, you get people that want, basically, normally when you go in life, you're gonna have problems, and you're gonna meet encouragements. But when that turns into too much, you're gonna have a disorder in your personality. No mental illness is disorder in your personality. And that's one way we could work. Basically people that are wearing rings, diamonds, piercing, that's all fine and dandy. But but that's because they are part of a culture, the integrity in society. But no one should be looking like some kind of plain boring person. Unless they got nothing they're living, they know they haven't their personality developed, or they are being locked into locked into one frame of mindset, because persona is development. Unless you don't have any money or shelf food, or to buy those things that express sometimes that makes them authentic, like a rock and roll artist. So it's a perceptive. So why Muko is a perceptive calibrator is because of personal development. The personal development makes you collaborate because the membrane makes you not to be looking like a white. So I just look black. I'm beautiful. I'm black, but I look like food. I look like something like food because I don't understand based on my so I don't understand something about possibility from I don't understand being my persona because I can buy me because I just look like food to people. I don't think can become because if I take off my clothes, I'll look like food. And by looking like food, I'll look like someone who don't know what they're doing. Because food is essential. So I'll don't be picking on me because I'm like, because, and that's what people should not be looking like. People looking or things stuff. I want to express myself. I feel like I can't, and that's how I do always do is perceptive. So it allows you to express yourself by giving you by holding the heartfelt and heartfelt situation or the heartful systems.
accountable. Heartless systems accountable. So you can sue anyone that doesn't heartless systems accountable. And just like to come heartless systems, these that that don't actually mitigate human rights, so can get money to solve that problem via the online lawsuit procedure. So you can have become unstable. So you can have the system here. So let's play this video. It's transcript. Oh, it's not. It's not. Oh, it's the bug. Basically, it's not playing them. It's not reading. Maslow's hierarchy model most are like mainly to one which mapping core principles. After this is the page now. Model most like many to one the question core mapping needs must be fulfilled in a hierarchical order. So physiologically to self-isolation, multiple brain profile can cause systems. So this systems systems expression is not equal to root, cause structure problem actually what does so it's a network heterogeneous lithium model via multi-path system. So for this, I wrote a lot of things here. A person is not about identifying him is condition when someone has multiple persona but lack control over whom and when they appear. This is not about different sides of having different sides. That's normal. It's not about having different sides. That's normal. That's normal. That's just baseline. So having different sides to yourself, I'm tripolar, so I have three different sides of myself. That's normal. A persona development is a condition where someone has multiple personas but lack control over when and where and how they appear. It is not. It's when the sides conflict with the roles, your duties, your values. For example, someone having a job of sell bikes, the jobs requires telling treating all kinds of equally. But if the individual experience not by conscious choice, but by having a conscious persona shaped by past trauma, deep rooted bias, and cultural condition, then the instability reflects a broader disorder. This can make them sure many forms, racism, status, and other types of discrimination. In extreme cases, in extreme cases, such as behavior of may stem from unrelated situation in war and deploying deeply personal conflicts. So that's personal development for you, disorder for you. So personal development is the adaptive one. One is adapting to the environment. And when you get to environment, the environment, doesn't where you are, you can have blood, sweat, and tears. But if you have authentic person, you can if you can navigate the environment, you have authentic persona. And persona is basically something that masquerades within the term masquerade within the people. So masquerades are people that masquerade. So the heartfelt systems heartful systems. Shall make it all heartful systems deal with your heart, your physical heart, and your soul to give you food, water, and shelter. And the personal calibrator ensures that you can get that thing eventually in space and time, or you have some money. Those money in system, but because I'm tripolar and I have that just normal, but because I have three different sides to myself. But I don't need medication because I have three diaries. And three diaries is my YouTube channel, my physical diary, my local diary, my pen and paper, and other things. So the perceptive calibration is just a calibration for the micro operating system to ensure the ring boot loader. It's literally when you ring boot, it calibrates basically perceives your actions and calibrates them based on kind of a left right center, no left up left, right, middle. Like, it's watching what kind of action you're gonna take. If you're trying to, try the modeling, try the modeling. Uh, uh, you know, But the difference basically you have the supervision mitigation, which is basically a boot sector, boot area, like boot procedure. You get basically the phases. You have three kind of boot procedure, and the procedures are basically where you import into the way you Windows system. But the person who needs to perceive your actions and then calibrate for that. Calibrate for your food, what I shut up. That's a very positive thing. That it has to go into the system to work for you. How long is the video? In 20 minutes. So you can't think of all the video now. Well, let me try to find something else I'm looking at. Yeah. Like on NSIGII, don't worry about face. Yes, and it does basically for two people. So the second thing usually is choose people. So it basically calculates the difference between two people. And just let me show you what I mean. So this one said it uses the trident. Basically this is a bipartite graph, but it's a tricolor, bro. So this is basically a bipartite graph. But I'm using a tripartite graph for tricolor. For you, basically you have three actors. You have the user that can do something wrong or right. The institution which can fail you, and arbitrary network shutdown, arbitrary attackers or consumers of the or defenders or system, people on the blockchain network that can sue people. So this was it's a tripartite graph instead of a bipartite graph. So G equals you the user, V the institution, or that can ghost you or leave you without food, water, and shelter, and someone wants to do something from one network, like W, the attacker. And the graph basically is trident, and the B squared minus 4AC ensures consensus over the three actors. Yes for yes, no, and maybe. So when the longer you wait, the longer they can sue them for. And so I'm saying, so this is basically the graph model of this thing, because I decided to make it trident, but it's everything trident model, trident model in its different one, as a very process for yes, no, maybe for left, right, middle, and so thank you guys for watching the video. Okay. Heartfelt and heartfelt systems. So the calibration basically is a pointer and a space that orientates can switch, based on the incoherence pattern of information, and the vector rotates it. You have 3 pointers in the up in the qubits. You have one pointer. You have one pointer here, 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 and here, and it shouldn't break, because it's me. And complete, just to complete in 3 axis pointer, and one pointer begins to drift away. It has to recalibrate that pointer of time. So that time pointer, usually the stream process of the people, basically look at this as vector in space and 3D space, and the vector basically points to the direction up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right, straight over charm. Up, down, up to down, left to right, straight over charm. They give you all the properties of the ratio of time via quantities. And that's what I'm saying. It should be able to work as a calibration system, so it can be recalibrate based on the drift theorem, which is basically moving away from everything has to move away, so you can get food on shelter. The three factors represent a trident state, and trident state is tripolar like me. System is complete. It's never half done, half undone. Saying to you guys. Or quarter down or quarter in the state of a quarter, or because these week are just the column states of simulation. Was anything I forgot here? So the goal basically the thing is basically C sharp, no C sharp, but the bootloader the bootloader doing C sharp, and C sharp is used to build a C app with .NET, and the .NET is basically used to load the bootloader in single file, which is between C sharp, and so you use your interface that is basically a compositor. Basically compositor applications are literally apps that you can compose together to make a larger apps. That's compositors. They are web applications or system app you can compose, like drag and drop interfaces into a micro interface.